Mr. Haenel, thank you for spending a few minutes of your busy morning with us.
Anytime.
We appreciate it. And I guess the first thing I wanted to know is, what's it been like for you teaching in Yuma Union High School District?
It's really been a phenomenal experience. I feel like it's been a great place for me to begin my teaching career. I've really been exposed to a lot of opportunity here. I'm only in my third year teaching, but I've already had the opportunity to teach an AP class, which is actually my second period. That's what I start my day off with after my plan. And to be in a position where I get to interact with that upper echelon of the student body and share my passion for my material so early on in my career, I think has really been an encouraging experience for me. So it's been phenomenal. It's been a great community, and I think I've really been exposed to a lot of opportunity here.
I think the opportunity is definitely something that's enticing for teachers just starting out too, because there's also supplemental ways to boost your salary a little bit.
For sure, yeah.
What are some of the specific things that have stood out about working here, especially early on, in relation to that?
I would say, again, kind of playing on that same string of opportunity, is I've picked up summer school. This year I'm picking up winter school. If you're looking to pick up something else, there's always something else to pick up. So being a little bit younger in my career, not having an established base of wealth, having no nest egg, picking up the odds and ends where you can is actually really, really helpful. So it allows my wife to be in a position where she can pick up some hours but still spend the vast majority of her time with our daughter. So I think me having extra opportunity here is allowing both of us to be better parents and probably a more complete family.
So part of that probably also is attributed to the wages and the benefits that come along with with teaching. You weren't here in 2018 during the Red for Ed movement. I'm sure you're aware of it because you're in Arizona at that point. But has that been something that has been satisfactory for you, or is that something that has helped you over the last few years as there's been small wage increases even in the last 3 years that you've been here?
Yeah, I think more than anything with that, obviously, so I don't see the big change from beforehand, but I do see like the annual increases, and that's something that really helps make ends meet. And it's something that when you look at some of the more experienced teachers, that's one of the things they point out is like, hey, the situation you're in right now is head and shoulders better than the situation we were in at your level. And you kind of got to tip your cap to those people for fighting the good fight and putting us all in a better position.
Yeah. What kind of supports have you felt, particularly from your campus administrative leadership or instructional leaders or things like that? What kind of support are in place for you to succeed as a teacher?
I think there's a lot of good people in a lot of different positions, but I think the person who stands out most above everybody else to me is my IL, Ben Franz. He does a phenomenal job of balancing, like having a great personal relationship with us as individuals. Like you feel that, okay, even though we work together, we're still friends beyond that. But also making sure everything is fully organized. If there's any question or a doubt, he has a good answer for it. He's been a phenomenal mouthpiece for us as a department to communicate with admin or district or whatever it is. And so balancing that relationship of completing all of the professional duties, but doing so in a manner that makes you feel validated and seen and important and part of a team rather than like a cog. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Is that something that if a teacher that was getting out of school and wanted to know if they should come work here, is that something that you would say is a benefit to working here, or what are some other things that you would suggest to them as why they should be here? Another
thing that I think I would point to maybe Kofa specifically, because I think there's a lot of good ILs, a lot of people who are really passionate about their work across the profession. But I think Kofa specifically, I think, so when I was student teaching here, it was Mr. Sharp, who's a really long-standing, really renowned principal here, but he moved on to new things, and it was a little bit of a revolving door moment for a second there with our head principal position. But now that Ms. Campos kind of like settled in and kind of established herself, I think it's really helping us as a school and as a community identifying like what our identity is. And I think having somebody like that at the helm is really helping us have a little more cogency and a little more organization top to bottom.
Nice. So you're teaching AP.
Yes, sir.
what's your favorite lesson? What's something that really has piqued your interest, I guess, that you've done this year so far?
Well, I think I'm maybe a little bit biased as a history teacher. Pretty much all of it piques my interest. But one of the things that's really resonated with my students is I broke off a little bit from just this is what the AP book says, this is what the AP test will cover, and I let the kids kind of dive down a rabbit hole with piracy. So the era we're exploring is the age of exploration, and so 1450 to 1750 is the bookends that the course puts on it. But that's also the golden age of piracy in the Mediterranean, the Caribbean, especially toward the end of that. And so rather than just saying, okay, and the system of mercantilism leads to this and that, and okay, that happens, I kind of let them get a little more personal with it and deep dive into some individuals. Bart Roberts turned into a really good presentation. Blackbeard's always a favorite. And to watch the kids kind of take their kind of tenuous understanding of these topics and really dive deep was a lot of fun.
So that sort of jumps on a big piece of Yuma Union's goals or mission for students as well, with personalized learning. So you're taking the content, but then making it appealing and an opportunity for students to explore things that are of their interest, right? Mm-hmm. How have some of those pillars or some of the things that are goals for Yuma Union and their students aligned with your style of teaching or the way that you teach your class?
Well, I think, and this is something that I feel like is really important in social studies classes in general, is the content isn't the end. The content is the means, and the end is to help these individuals build skills that they can utilize in arenas beyond academia. And so can you form complex connections between independent ideas? Can you think critically given a set of information? And so for my AP kids, DBQs really translate really well to that. Okay, so that's a document-based question. So you have a series of documents, excerpts from books, sometimes it's paintings or images or maps, and looking at this data, what conclusions can you draw from that help you form a cogent response to a question that's being asked? And sure, that's helpful on the AP test, and sure, it'll get you a good grade in my class. But I think those are life skills that help them solve like big problems that we all encounter in life beyond sitting in a classroom.
Nice. So last question.
For sure. Let's
say somebody is interested in teaching for the district. Mm-hmm. Came up to you at the store. They knew you worked here. And they said, why should I, A, be a teacher, and B, why should I work for Yuma Union? What would you answer?
In terms of the first question, why should I be a teacher? I think the number one thing is the relationships. And you can be the best historian in the world, but you'll never be any type of halfway decent history teacher if you don't love the kids. If you don't love building that relationship and helping them grow as individuals. And I think if you have to choose between being an expert in your content or an expert at building those relationships with the kids, the latter is easily preferable to the former. The content you can pick up along the way, and if you're willing to work hard and be there for the kids and show them that you genuinely do care, they'll be flexible with you and they'll be accepting of you, and you guys can work as a team to build the rest of it. So if somebody was to ask me, should I pursue teaching as a career, my number one question for them would be, are you passionate about building that relationship with the children? And if the answer is yes, then my answer is also yes, absolutely, they should pursue that. About Yuma Union specifically, again, it's just, this is the land of opportunity for young teachers. I think that's something that cannot be overstated, because it's not just me. I've seen that happen for numerous colleagues, people who came out of the Teachers College with me at the same age. I've seen it happen with people who have been here a little bit longer, and I continue to see it happen with people who arrive here new every year. And that opportunity isn't going away. That lake isn't evaporating. And so, why Yuma Union versus going up to Phoenix or something like that? I would say here in this community, there's a ton of opportunity for new teachers to grow and explore the opportunities and develop themselves as professionals and as individuals.